Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the February edition of Pitch Perfect. So with today's presentation, we do just want everyone to be mindful of that there will be forward-looking information. So there can be no assurances that forward-looking information will prove to be accurate, as actual results in future events could differ materially from those anticipated in such statements. So accordingly, viewers should not place undue reliance on forward-looking information. I'd like to turn things over to our next company of today. We've got Will Cromack of Rovers Football Club to talk about the first Canadian soccer club to welcome supporters as co-owners in Canada. So yeah, Will, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And slightly unique here, a sports franchise being offered to anyone to participate in. But I'm going to start it with a question. If many of the world's most prominent investors have added a sports franchise to their investment portfolio, perhaps it's time that you do. And maybe it's something you need to look at. So for us, we often say, why wouldn't you want to own part of a networking machine, a conversation starter, and a powerful community vehicle like Rovers Football Club? Next slide, please. As you can see, Rovers down there in the bottom corner, we model ourselves off of something very Canadian, hockey. If you think about junior hockey and all of the clubs that are around Canada, making a major impact on their communities, that's where we sit in the soccer world. We are Canadian focused. We are definitely all about building an opportunity, particularly with the way that the world of Canada is almost soccer first in most of the families that exist. But that's where we sit. Next slide, please. What makes us unique? Well, we would like to direct you to the big pyramid over there. Most people in the world will understand England as a football country or a soccer country. Just pyramid is massive. This is a burgeoning market in Canada, known by FIFA as the last of the first world nations to get it together and start building. So we sit in the second layer right now, and we're really focused on the idea that this will be a growing pyramid that matches one day all of the European and South American powerhouses. Rovers itself is made up of a multitude of different areas that we're experts in, from academy type of environments with young kids through to youth playing full teams, and then ultimately the investment opportunity, which is now a league specifically in BC, British Columbia that is, and which is mirrored in Ontario and Quebec, and we call that League One BC. And Rovers sits in that as an anchor club. Next slide, please. Just to give everybody a little bit of a window into why this is such a good opportunity to get in now and such a conversation starter and such an opportunity is Canada, really not well known on the planet, but known for its potential, is now starting to meet some of that potential. A women's gold medal at the Olympics. 2026, we begin to invite the world into Canada for the world's biggest event called the World Cup. Alphonso Davies is now a household name in Canada, whether you like the sport, watch the sport or not, a world star. And we're starting to see massive corporate influence on the game, both with our MLS teams, a new league called the Canadian Premier League, and some massive media exposure that's beginning to happen, and media companies investing in the product. Next slide, please. So what are we doing? Well, we are taking a model from Europe, from South America, where we believe strongly that community is the actual reason that sport should exist. Sport is eroding in so many ways, where kids are struggling to get opportunity, struggling to play, struggling to stay in the game. And we suggest that people moving their franchises around or using it purely as a money or political gain is strictly abusive to us. So we want people involved. We want them to have a voice. We want them to control where their club stays, what their club does, how they do it. We built a supporter trust like they have in Germany. A supporter trust means that there's actual supporters or fans on our board, and we'll end with a say. We have a share that's available, so you can co-own a soccer club in the professional pyramid for $265. Next slide, please. So that's us. We are simply suggesting that it is one of the greatest opportunities, one of the best investments you can make. And the reason is it's really cool to talk about. It's something cool to be involved in. It's something cool to go to. And, you know, who doesn't like being by the water cooler saying, I own myself a sports franchise? We welcome any questions on how we're doing it, what we're doing. Please, investors at tss.ca, or you can simply email me through the campaign page. Happy to answer anything there.
Perfect. Awesome presentation, Will. Really appreciate it. Loved learning more about what you guys are doing. And as for myself, you know, I wasn't too familiar with the concept of becoming a co-owner of a soccer club, despite the fact that I played soccer much of my entire life. So I think for a lot of people on the call today, might be a new investment and business concept, the idea of owning a club. But as you mentioned, you know, this is already being done globally in, you know, other regions throughout Europe and throughout South America there. So perhaps you can provide a bit more detail. I know we've got a slide together on that, on just, you know, for some of these other clubs that have done that, what that looks like, and kind of how that's charting a path forward for you guys as a club as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great segue there and question. The truth is, really, in North American culture, everything is about the winning team, and everybody rides that coattail on the winning team, whether it's the Lakers or it's the Canucks or the Maple Leafs or whatever that might be. If they're winning, everybody supports them. If they're not, there's this sort of low ebb with them. Well, in the rest of the world, especially in soccer, football, your club is your club. You live and you die by it. Yes, you want them to win, but you know, Dortmund, for instance, 85,000 people attend every single game, win, lose, or draw. They you know, gift their season tickets. Season tickets are held at a good price for everybody because there's a supporter trust that, you know, votes to make sure it's accessible. But that club went from literally bankrupt all the way through to being IPO, and you can own on the public stock exchange in Germany. Wimbledon below is an example in England. The fans were upset with, you know, owners trying to move their club, who ultimately did move their club. They got together, they started themselves again under the same name with a little bit of a different numbered company. And then they've moved through league after league after league, one of the best supported clubs now in England, and that nobody knows about. Americans are very, like us, they're full of different nationalities. You know, building something from the ground is kind of in their DNA. And they've also done that, you know, proving that, you know, vehicles like a sports franchise should be from the community, for the community, in the community, yet at the same time sustainable and a good investment. I think a lot of people really do see the value in the connection that they get from being a part of a club and saying that they own something like that.
No, that's great. I think you really highlighted some fantastic examples there of how we see that kind of on a global scale, which is fantastic. So I know we've had a couple questions come through, so I do just want to jump on some of those as well. We had one come through asking if the ambition for Rovers FC is to become a team that could compete in the CPL or MLS, or perhaps, you know, how you guys are planning on building out that football pyramid that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, everything about us has been from the very beginning is a slow, steady build what we can and get access. There's something in Canada called the Voyageurs Cup, which is an open competition. We seek access to that, and our new standing as this co-owned vehicle as well as the leagues we're in, will give us access to that, which means we could essentially vie for the Canadian championships against Toronto FC, CF Montreal, any of those Canadian Premier League teams. We have already had people knocking on our door to come in and take us to the next layer, which is the Canadian Premier League. Impressive in that they want to do that. So we're just detailing some stadium plans and thoughts over that over the next, I would say, 2 to 5 years. But yeah, we have no limit to where we want to take this, but we will guarantee that we take people with us from the community.
That's great. We do have another question that I want to try and get through, though we are running a little short on time here. So
Yep.
One of them was mentioning, the leagues that you've previously been in, the Premier Soccer leagues on the women's side, on the men's side, and just asking, about some of the players who've come through your programs and, why is that semi-pro level team so important to, soccer development?
Again, we just look straight to the WHL, the OHL, and the number of people that have come through there that are now household names in the NHL. That is exactly what we're about. Come see tomorrow's stars today. We are all about, Joel Waterman, who just played against Santa Laguna last night for Montreal, who was in our system, young kid that was told he wasn't good enough and is now in the national pool. Jordan Haynes, Julia Grosso played for us, who scored the final penalty shot for the Canadian women, who now plays at Juventus. They need a chance. They need a place to play, but so do our coaches need a place to coach. If you remember that pyramid I just showed you, if there's no pyramid, there's nothing for anybody. Media, there's nothing for any journalists, there's nothing for physios, there's nothing for coaches, and there's nothing for players. We choose to fill that gap, and if we go higher levels, we're going to still leave that level there.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great sentiment to end things on. Definitely, it's much needed for player development, for the overall just development of the sport within Canada. And what you guys are doing is really charting that roadmap there, which is fantastic. So just as we wrap up, for anyone who is perhaps uncertain about what Front Fundr is, and this is the first event with us that you've attended, we are Canada's leading equity crowdfunding platform. We make it easy for all Canadians to invest in exciting startups and growth stage companies for as little as $250. And if you have any questions about getting started or where to make your investments, definitely visit frontfundr.com. You've had a chance to hear from all of our companies, see their campaign pages today. And if you ever have any questions about making your investment, you can reach out to support or our online chat box at any time. So again, would really like to thank everyone for attending today. So thanks so much and enjoy the rest of your day.